Hey besties. Disregard the tiny geese. They need to air out a little bit. Always drip dryer geese. For anyway, so this is going to be probably a little brief explainer. Um, I just went through something with somebody about a potential launch for Amazon, and I want to walk through my process real quick to explain why I want to do a explain the relaunch to you guys. So basically, this is for somebody who's written like between 2 and 6 books in either 1 or 2 series, and has posted on Railroad and wants to self-publish. So this is, I'll probably title this something like self-publishing. Here is how I would prepare a series for self-publishing. Who knows? This is not gonna be very long. I have like 10 lines here. Uh, so 2 layers, 3 layers: Railroad posting, Amazon posting, audiobook posting. Right. So assuming that someone wants to launch in June, which is kind of like a low month in Railroad, here's my suggestion. All right, so basically this person has a series rebrand that needs to happen because the title, right? They've been on posting Railroad for a year. They want to be serious about it. So I said, okay, let's do a relaunch. Here's how we do it, and then do the relaunch, lead that into an Amazon launch. So basically, if they launch on June 1st, they do the 10 chapters the first day, right? They do all the shout outs. They work with people to get shout outs. I would have them post daily between June 1st and basically September 20th, right? So their first book's like 40 chapters, right? Or roughly 40 chapters. Um, they post their second book on Railroad starting on the 30th of June. The third book starts posting on the 10th of August. The fourth book drops. They drop from one a day to 5 a week, and this is all pre-written, except that based off of the timeline, they've only written 3. I'm going to go into this assuming that they're starting today in January. They're going to start this in 6 months. They're going to write the rest of the series between now and September, which let's say it says 6. Let's just say it's a 6 book series, right? I'm going to get really specific with these examples, right? So let's say you have 2 or 3 books. You're going to write between for the next 9 months. You're going to write the rest of the series. It's going to be the rest of the series is going to be between 4 and 7 books, whatever, with the opportunity to continue on. My recommendation is for the first 100-ish days to post a daily chapter after your 10 on Railroad. This is to just gain a following with the new rebrand, right? And then basically, they would, if they launch on June 1st, then the first book on Amazon would go October 1st. So book 4 drops on September 20th onto Railroad. Book 1, they stub the book, they take down all the chapters, and then that book goes on Kindle Unlimited, right? And I would, for that, I would do a simultaneous Kindle Unlimited KDP ebook drop with an audiobook drop, which means that in June the audiobook has to be prepared. Basically, then audiobook 2 would be prepared in August, and then audiobook 3 would be prepared in October, right? So that we would start going from the Railroad launches. They go to 5 days a week, which is kind of what Zorgarth is doing now, right now. I don't see a lot of people doing this. This is what I did with Bodega Cat, 5 days a week for months until like the last 2 or 3 months. Then you drop to 3. October 1st, they drop the book with the audiobook. Either they go with Podium, or they go with some other publisher, or they go with they self-publish, or they do a royalty share with somebody. However that happens, for the book to drop on October 1st, it probably needs to be produced around June, or needs to be like finalized that someone's doing in June. Then December 15th, they drop the second book. They stub that second book, and already you're in like book 5 or 6 in the series. On Railroad, book 2 is out on Amazon December 15th, either within a 45-day to 60-day window, right? Then February 1st, right? So the Amazon releases are like every 60 days after that, and this is after doing a book release every 40 days on Railroad, right? So you take between January and September to write the whole thing. This is kind of what I'm doing with my series, except that you have to factor in the dev edits. Factoring the dev edits, the person's already done. Assuming they have the dev edits done for everything basically by September, and they're posting like all 6, 7 books. Did I just do that? I did just do that. Assuming they're posting, they have like all the books ready for the series, or if they know they're going to continue, they should be basically 4 books ahead on Royal Road where it is when they start posting, and then like they can slow down the releases after book 3 or 4 on Amazon. There is a 6-day window that you want to hit, which is good. But the main thing is having something out there that's available as a back catalog. For this particular one, they had a second series in the same universe. So what I would say is focus on one series at a time to release, then release the second series. You can do a relaunch on Royal Road for the second series, or do a launch, whatever. But if it's going to be a long ongoing series and you're not sure how long it's going to be, if you're going to go to 15 books, great, that's good to know. But then I would just up your posting to 5 a week, right? And this way you're like, okay, so if it's 40 chapters, 5 days a week, every 2 months you finished a book posting, and the only thing you have to do is just make sure that you're like ahead of that, and then you get your dev edits done on time. So that's kind of how I would do it as a self-published to launch the first series. And here's my important thing: people are going to ask, what about ads? You don't do any ads. Do not do any ads until book 3 launches. And even then, I would say like probably you don't want to do it until book 4, if because you have the momentum. Let's assume you get like 500 to 1,000 followers on Royal Road, right? And you pivot that and you get them. Let's go onto Amazon. You start getting followers there. I wouldn't run Amazon ads until book 3. I would run BookBuy ads at book 3. I don't think I've got a thing here, but there's a specific launch strategy just for the week of launch that I use. Basically, you have to have your platform set up to go, but like this is not about launch week. This is about overall launch strategy. So think about it long term. I'm not going to spend on ads until I have book 3 out. Um, there you go. That's my step by step how I would think about planning it out, and then you can just plug and play those dates in there because you have the date the book releases on Royal Road, June 1st, the date the first book releases on Amazon, which is October 1st, ideally with the audiobook, if you have the money to pay for it, or if you can get a royalty share done. And then 15 to 60 days thereafter, those drop onto Amazon, right, in the same series. And then once that series is done, you focus on the next one, right? And that's kind of how it has to be, because instead of like a lot of newer authors, I'm going to bury the lead here. A lot of newer authors think that they can make it big with one book, but what they really need to do is they need to have one bookshelf of books to make it, which means that they have to write a lot. So there's your idea. Go write a lot. Probably call this a plan for self-publishing. Have a great day.